There's a moment, sometimes many moments, when you stare at your life and you can't make sense of it. Maybe everything is falling apart. Maybe you're stuck. Or maybe you've succeeded and still feel empty. You ask, is this what was meant for me? You whisper, is this God's plan or just my mistake? And the hardest part, there's no loud voice from the sky, no scroll falling from heaven, no map handed to you. Just silence. And yet, something in you says this moment matters. So how do you tell? How do you know if what you're walking through is divine orchestration or just chaos? Let's talk about that. Not from the mountaintop, but from the valley, the confusion, the heartbreak, the in-between. Because that's where most of us live. We've been sold a lie. That when it's God's plan, it'll feel perfect, peaceful, clear, like walking on sunshine with no doubts, no detours, no disappointment. But here's the truth. Clarity doesn't always come before obedience. Sometimes you walk blind. Sometimes you leap without certainty. Sometimes the path that breaks you the most is the one that builds you the best. Joseph was thrown in a pit. Ruth lost everything before she found purpose. Even Jesus had to carry a cross before the crown. Whatever your belief system is, the story is always the same. The plan doesn't always look like a plan. It looks like pain, like confusion, like closed doors, like silence. But silence doesn't mean absence, and confusion doesn't cancel purpose. Imagine this. You've got a vision. You've got a dream. You even did everything right. But the door slams shut. The person walks away. The opportunity vanishes. And you're left in a space that feels like a mistake. But what if this is the plan? What if the relationship that didn't work out was protection? What if the job you didn't get was redirection? What if the breakdown was the exact condition required for your breakthrough? Too often we call things a failure when they're actually foundations. The detour didn't take you off the path. It took you deeper into it. We want straight lines, but sometimes God writes in curves. So let's get practical. Because knowing whether this is part of the plan isn't just about hope. It's about perspective. Here are 5 signs you're not lost. You're aligned. 1. You're growing in the fire. If you're uncomfortable, stretched, stripped down, you're not failing, you're growing. Growth rarely feels good, but it always produces strength. Ask yourself, am I becoming more patient, more humble, more aware, even in the pain? If yes, you're not lost, you're being refined. 2. Doors are closing that don't serve you. It hurts when doors close, but closed doors aren't rejection, they're direction. We pray for clarity and then cry when it comes in the form of a no. But sometimes a no is a divine gift. Sometimes not this is how life says, not yet, or I've got better. 3. Your inner peace doesn't match outer chaos. Ever been in the middle of a storm and still feel calm? That's not weakness, that's alignment. Sometimes God's plan isn't proven by the situation, but by your spirit. If you're not panicking the way you used to, it's because you're being prepared for more. 4. You're attracting the right people. Look at who's showing up in your life. The people around you are either pulling you off path or confirming your purpose. If you're meeting mentors, encouragers, truth speakers, that's not random. The right people are never accidents. 5. You keep getting pulled towards something bigger. Even if you try to quit, give up, go backwards, something keeps tugging at your soul. You feel it at 3 a.m. You feel it when you're about to settle. It's that whisper. Don't stop here. That's not ego. That's purpose reminding you it still has a plan. You know what's hardest? When what you're going through doesn't look like destiny, when it feels more like destruction. This is where most people give up. But you're not most people. Because if you look back, you'll notice something. You survived things you didn't think you would. You've made it through nights that should have broken you. You've risen from pain that had every reason to bury you. And yet, you're still here. Not by accident, but because purpose doesn't give up on people, even when you doubt it, even when you curse the sky, even when you feel forgotten. You are still part of the plan. Want proof that you're in God's plan? Look back. Remember the times you thought it was over, the heartbreaks, the missed chances, the closed doors, the lonely nights. Now look where you are. Not perfect, but growing. Not where you want to be, but no longer who you were. The path doesn't always look beautiful when you're on it. But when you look back, the masterpiece reveals itself. Let's pause for a second. This moment, right now, it's not a mistake. You're hearing this for a reason. Because maybe you've been questioning, maybe you've been wondering, maybe you've been quietly asking, is this really God's plan? And maybe this is your answer. Not in a loud voice, not in fireworks, but in the still honest realization that you're still standing, you're still growing, you're still searching. And that alone means you're still on the path. So how can you tell this is God's plan? Maybe you can't. Not with certainty, but maybe you don't have to. Maybe it's not about knowing. It's about trusting. Trusting that every tear watered your next level. Trusting that every silence was preparing your spirit. Trusting that every delay was setting up divine timing. So here's the truth. If it's shaping you, growing you, humbling you, and pushing you toward purpose, then yes, it's part of the plan. Not because it's easy, but because it's transforming you. You don't need a sign in the sky. You don't need to see the full picture. Just look inside. You've come too far. You've grown too much. And something inside you still believes. And that's how you know.